No, but I have Watkins and Bailey as anytime scorers. Adebayo scoring first. Let's just put in that correct score of 1-4.
Well, while you're doing some math, let's go ahead and bring on Gary, who's joining us.
Hello. Hello,
So,
Mr. Tom. And
Gary.
who's that? Is that Mark?
you know it. How you doing?
I'm doing good.
Doing.
Doing good. I was trying to listen to you, but then one of my kids called, so then my phone switched the audio from the show to my daughter's voice, so I had
You
to.
were trying to listen and you just got fed up with it.
That,
Yeah.
I was trying to be nice, and I guess I screwed that up.
So if we make the adjustment that we spoke of, it is 929 to 1.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah, correct score of 1-4. Adebayo scoring first. Watkins anytime score. Leon Bailey also scoring. It is 929 to 1.
Let's do that one as well then.
If that player does score first,
cash out.
I'll be thrilled for
I'll
you.
be cashing out for like $200, I'm sure.
Yeah.
No,
but
they
you
would
never
probably
know.
Only offer you like $10.
You never know, though.
No, but if Ollie Watkins equalised, for example, then you'd start getting some of that sweet cash out money offers.
Indeed.
Yeah,
indeed.
absolutely. All right, let's see the next one.
Right, we're going with Manchester Blue versus Manchester Red. We're going Manchester Blue to win 4-2. Erling's going to score 2 or more. Foden's going to score. And I've done Casemiro to receive a card to bump that money up. Now, I know, obviously, on the American betting apps, I don't think they offer cards, right?
Not that I've been able to
not
find.
not on my site.
So without Casemiro, it should pay about 100. You might be lucky to get 200. But how can you not go with Erling after like everything he touched turned to sold on Tuesday night?
Did he score 4 or 5?
He scored 5.
Got
but
5.
He scored 4 in the first half.
And all 5 were assisted by his.
4 out of 5.
I think 4 was assisted by De Bruyne.
Okay. Can you do assists on your apps?
Yeah.
Yes.
Oh,
you can't do cards though.
Throw in De Bruyne for an assist, of course. Instead, if you can't do
one
cards.
assist.
Yeah.
I'm behind on my betting now. I didn't even get. Have I only missed like one? Did I?
Yeah,
I missed
just the Villa one.
Okay. I got that one because I was I could see what it was, but I couldn't listen to you at the time, so I got that one. I got to put it in, but yeah. According to my bank account, I have not won yet. So, Mr. Tom, do better.
Okay. All right, Gary. Yeah. I'll do my best. So join us next week where you get Man City to win and Haaland to score, and Gary makes $2.
Right.
Before we move on to the next one, there you go, Gary. Crack it open. Cheers. Before we move on to the next one, we have a very important question here from Dan, and I want to get y'all's answer to this. What's a plastic fan? We say this a lot. That's a plastic fan. These fans are plastic, blah, blah, blah. What does this actually mean to you guys when you hear someone called a plastic fan?
I would say somebody who's like 30 years old and like is a City fan all of a sudden. Like all of a sudden, like a City fan or a Kansas City fan all of a sudden.
I'm not saying this to pick on Africa specifically, but when you do see, like, you'll hear someone go, "Oh, Man City are really well supported in Africa," and it's like, but why?
Right.
Because they wouldn't be well supported from before 2008, before they got bought by the billionaires. But it's not just Africa that. There'll be people in England that got into football and were like, "Oh, I like Man City." It's like, well, why?
Yeah. Well,
Just
you have
say
to have a
'cause they're
reason
winning,
why you support the club for sure. Like Brownie says right here, someone who never goes to watch the games live. Well, we live in a different country.
That is
Yeah,
not
exactly.
plastic. That is
Yeah,
actually
yeah.
wow.
That's kind of tough for
Whoa.
a lot of us. I mean,
And like
Whoa.
to go to my first Premier League match, I spent a fortune.
Damn straight.
And luckily I was in a place in my life where I was able to do that. Not a lot of people are ever in their lives, especially over here in the States where it costs so much money to go. And then if you're a London club, staying in London is stupid. Getting a ticket is stupid. I think we paid like over $400 for our tickets, not to mention our flights, hotels, food, all that. But then if you fly into London and your team is from somewhere else, if Mark wants to go to Wolverhampton, then he's got to deal with all fucking that. Like, so I don't think the definition is someone who never goes to watch a game live.
I'm gonna agree with that one.
What I would say is the only reason I don't necessarily agree with that, Brownie, is because I don't get to see Leeds very often, and but I would argue that I carry the depression of someone who is a Leeds fan.
Yeah.
So I wouldn't really appreciate being told that I'm not a real Leeds fan because I don't watch them every week.
Yeah.
Live.
Yeah. I mean, for me, for like I'm a Dallas Cowboy fan. I've seen them play preseason because of where I've lived. I've never been able to see them live, and I've been through like the Landry, the old days, like when they were America's team, to when they went 3-13, to
That's
where they
South
won
America's team.
who knows what it is now? Who knows what it is now? But it's not America's team anymore. But I've lived.
It's America Ferrera's team now.
But I can say I've got 20 plus years, maybe even 30 years of fandom for that team. So nah. If somebody said you're a plastic fan, I'm like, yeah. No. So I don't think just because you go to a game you're a real fan either. There's a lot to it. People can talk
What I
about
will
that.
say is, I did used to hold a certain respect for fans of teams that, like, I've been a fan of a team for a long time and all this, and yeah, I agree to an extent, Brownie. But again, like, you've got to take circumstances into account.
You can't afford to go to a game. That means you can't be a real fan. That means you're a plastic fan. I don't think that's true, because maybe you just can't afford tickets to a game, and you'll never will, because they just keep going up and up. So, and you can get more than enough information nowadays about what's going on with the team to know everything. And if you want to go back in time and read the history, you can do that as well. So, nah. That's a bad take there,
I think it's tough to, like, from the U.S. perspective to kind of label people plastic fans. I mean, because it's just, for some other outside of the broadcast, I mean, a lot of things aren't that accessible. You don't get, like, I'm sorry, but Lolo and I watched Arsenal play Newcastle at a lovely bar in a neighborhood in Brooklyn called Fancy Free. And that atmosphere was absolutely fantastic, but it paled in comparison to the atmosphere at the bar that we went to after the North London Derby.
I think
so that sort of support for me is kind of tough to gauge. It has different meanings, but I think those that, at least in the United States, those that have chosen teams for the sole reason of picking a winner, like, I'm a Chelsea fan because they won all these trophies. I'm a Tottenham fan because I don't know why. I'm a City fan because they're the flavor of the month. It's like how many City fans, and City has won however many trophies over the last 4 or 5 years, 10 years, however many years. How many of them kind of took that that Manchester United jersey, and kind of it's sitting in the back of their closet. It's lonely, and it hasn't been touched, and maybe they're trying to sell it at the garage sale or on their stoop sale, but it's a Man United jersey, and so it's not going to get bought. But how many people in the United States have done that? How many have a jersey because that's who they support? I don't support them anymore because they suck.
I think there's a fear.
You know?
I think there's a fear in people when they first get into football, they survey the landscape, right? And they don't want to pick a team where they have a risk of dropping out of the Premier League, for example, right? And it's like, oh, this is the established Big Six, so I'm going to pick one of them, right? But also, you get a lot of people that support Manchester City that had Manchester City not been purchased by Sheikh whoever the fuck wad or whatever, they
shake your booty.
They would be supporting Chelsea because they'd be the team that'd be winning most things because they had the billionaire.
Right.
Yeah.
No.
And first of all, I know Dan kicked off this conversation with that, and we want to jump on a lot of Chelsea fans as being plastic fans because they would have jumped on as soon as the Premier League became relevant in the United States. That's when Chelsea were kicking off and being hot. They were one of the top clubs, a nice one. A lot of people were like, oh, that sounds much better, Chelsea. It sounds like a classy lady.
It is pleasurable, though, to see Chelsea dropping into their natural position of like relegation.
It is. I just got to stick up for my boy Dan just a little bit of like, Dan has horrible takes on a lot of things, and he supports a terrible club. And anytime we talk about football, it's like, oh, man, take off those Chelsea tinted glasses. But the dude supports Chelsea. What did he name his daughter? Fucking Chelsea. Like, I mean,
I was like, Linda.
No, but I mean, you can't be plastic if you name your
Barb.
kid after the club.
Barb.
Like, come on.
Right. Yeah. I mean, it's, our, we had it's been a long time since I've seen him, but there was a cat at the old Wade's. He named his kid, like, didn't he name one of his kids like after Liverpool or something like that? You know who I'm talking about.
Rafa. He named his daughter Rafa.
It's
I've
fucking
got two
crazy.
definitions for it, right? One of them, the term has a multitude of meanings, is often used to represent a diverse set of people. Commonly, plastic fans are fans who are not very loyal towards a particular club or national team, and loyalty is considered to be the highest virtue among football lovers all over the world. Secondly, the term plastic refers to an artificial, plastic is not natural, or a fake. When a fan just supports a club during their glory period and shifts to support another club during their hard times, it is called being plastic.
Yeah. Well, shout out to Jimmy for throwing us a tenner on this. Fantastic. Thank you so much for that, Jimmy. We really appreciate the support right there. But he actually says something very good in this, and he says plastic fans, glory supporters who turn up for a prawn sandwich and a plastic glass of Prosecco, then spend more time looking at their phones than at the game or the crowd and sit down and clap when the team they're wearing a $10 scarf of, a 10-pound scarf of, and clap like a seal being fed a fish. So there's that. And then Palfy also said plastic fans are people who change or have changed who they support. You only have one team from day one.
Day dot.
Day dot.
Day zero.
You never
Day
change
zero.
that. I love all that. And then
Can we send the
yes?
Can we send the link to Brownie just so he can defend himself?
No.
Yeah,
no. He can sit there and stew. He can sit there and stew in the chat.
You know what, John? We'll send it out to everybody. Why not? We'll moderate who actually comes on. We're gonna send out that link right now, and you guys can click on it if you want to give your thoughts. Join us. Have some headphones in. It always helps. But Brownie's here saying you asked me what a plastic fan is, and that's what it is. And then he said, the term is now probably out of date, but that's what the phrase originated from. So maybe that's what that phrase originated from, but we are in a different place.
Right.
We are not.
And I
always
guess,
mean the same
you
thing.
know, I mean, if plastic fans is a term that's kind of fell out of favor because of the global attraction of football, then I'll just call it
Oh shit, Mark, he's
it
here.
is.
He's here, Mark. He's here.
What it is in
Get
the
out.
States.
Hi,
I'll
gentlemen. How
call
are you?
Mark.
How are you?
Get out of here,
goes
Mark.
the-
Let
there
me
goes
let me
the
let me
show.
call it what I would call it in the States, and that's glory hunter or a glory chaser.
Yeah, glory.
Yeah,
you
yeah,
know?
yeah.
What's
But,
up, Brownie? Very good to see you on the
Hey,
show,
Brownie.
my
Yeah,
man.
yeah,
How are you?
Nice to be on a show with you guys. I'm starting to enjoy your channel. I've only been viewing it for the last 2 or 3 weeks, but congratulations
thank
on
God.
congratulations
Thank God.
on
I thought you were about to say, I've only been watching you guys 2 or 3 years, and I'm just starting to like what
no,
you
no,
have.
no.
I'm just starting to understand what you're saying.
I do apologize. It's a Welsh accent, okay? So
No, I love it. I love it. You've got all those extra letters.
Gary and Tom have introduced me to this channel, and congratulations on it becoming stronger and stronger.
Thank you,
Appreciate
sir.
it.
So we've talked about your comments a lot about plastic fans.
Yeah.
Go ahead and explain yourself. I mean, I get what you're saying. It's where it originated, but
Yeah, I
now
think
that
I
football
think
is
it's an
global-
out of date. I think because Premier League have expanded global so much, it really originated before it went global. If I'm honest with you, I was going
Good night,
through
Bono.
my team's Cardiff. I was a season ticket of Cardiff for 13 years. I finished that season ticket 2012. I would say it probably started around about 2007, 2008, when it wasn't as global, going to America, going to Australia, going to Asia when it wasn't. And the term plastic was somebody, at that time, the term plastic started off somebody who they support a club but only could watch it on TV or only would watch it on TV. Maybe that's because I'm lower league, and lower league clubs don't have that kind of expansion in supporters. I can only explain it from my personal opinion. But as it gone on, I know Dan, the Chelsea fan. Also, Tom mentioned it with Man City as well. As time has gone on, I think it's expanded a little bit, where historically Chelsea and Man City have been yo-yo clubs before they started winning anything. So they were always normally going relegated, promoted, and before that time, you go in a street, no one would be a Man City fan, no one would be a Chelsea fan. Now they started to win things. That is why the term plastic fans aimed at Chelsea and Man City fans, basically because they were nowhere near the grounds when they didn't win anything. So glory hunters is probably the new term to it, really.
To me, Man United was the original plastic club because, from my perspective, obviously I'm living in London, so it was weird to have half a class of school kids support Man United. And it's like, well, and I know you're going to say, well, why do you support Leeds? I'm like, well, because my dad went every week for 20 to 30 years. Like, that's why. Why do you support Man United? Because your dad supports West Ham. And West Ham are down the road. So why do you support Man United? Because they win every week.
Yeah,
Because Leeds weren't winning every
you
week when
do
I
get-
supported Leeds.
I mean, I know a lot of Cockney Reds. Coming from like they used to come from like Romford and Essex and all that way. Go home and away all the time. But I just think it's natural. As a team gets more success, they get more supporters. But originally, it was if you only watch your team on TV and you've never been to the ground. No. I'm showing my
Hey.
age, I think. I'm showing my age
Yeah.
by the history lesson.
You wouldn't believe it, but he's only 16. I mean, that's just. I mean, he just had a hard life.
16
Been
in
a
the
rough
head.
16
Come on,
years
guys.
in Wales.
In the head.
This is what a 16-year-old Cardiff supporter looks like.
Oh, I tell you.
I
I
had
tell
a
you.
rough 2 years
Cardiff
in the
have given
Premier
me
League.
enough grey hairs over the years, I tell you.
Well, you can only see what being a Wolves fan has done for me.
Oh, I tell you. My first ever game was 1987. They call it now League Two, the old Division 4. And my first ever game was Cardiff Wolves. Wolves won the league that year. They went from a top league. So if it was this year, it'd be Premier League, Championship, League One, League Two,
League Two.
straight all the way down. After 4 years, boom, 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 relegated. And
Wow.
then they went back up straight to the Championship, and then Championship for maybe about 15 years before going to Premier League.
Hmm.
But yeah, what's this? Looks like I'm beaten up. I know. You know what? I had a hard paper round. As a kid. That's what it is. Anyway, I just thought I'd pop in just to say.
No, for
hello
sure,
to
man.
people.
For sure.
Uh,
You can definitely stay with us as we are about to finish betting in the dark. We have Cyril here in his lovely blue bow tie, looking very proper.
Well, yeah, he wants to be smart for the stoop, of course.
Wow, that's not anything that I would quantify or qualify the stoop as being is smart. That would, I think that's
I know,
actually
I know.
against our mission statement is to be smart.
I know, but Cyril's a rebel. He does what he wants, doesn't he? So,
And there you have it. That's the Brooklyn way.
and
do
Finger
anyone
the duck is also
actually think Man United could win or get something out of this?
Sure.
I do think they could, but I don't think.
Sure,
I
why
don't want
not?
them to.
I don't think they can. I honestly can see Casemiro getting sent off in this one. You know, he's come really close in the last few games.
They
know,
call it
and
lightning in a bottle. They just need to be perfect in everything that they do.
Yeah.
For them to get something out of this game, much less a win. You know what I mean? And they have been far from anywhere close to perfect. So it's going to be it could be a 0-0 game. And as you know, City has that shot coming at any time. And it could just be like 90th minute, boom, goal, whistle, let's go home kind of thing, you know?
Mm-hmm.
That's how they work.
Well, Gary, you say that Manchester United have been off it, but they lost this one game to Fulham, right? In the weekend. But before that, they had won 4 in a row.
Yep.
They were. I mean, Eric Ten Hag is up for Manager of the Month.
True.
Like,
who did they beat though?
They beat Luton. They beat Aston Villa. They beat West Ham. They beat Wolves. And they drew with Tottenham. They beat Aston Villa twice, actually, and they drew with Liverpool. So, like, it'd
be one thing to say, you know what? I see Mr. Tom's face, and I'm like, it's not easy to beat everybody. Winning 5 games in a row, not everybody does it. I think it's a.
My team's
I think it's a big deal.
Going to win 10 league games in a row tomorrow, potentially.
The problem with Man United and Jamie Carragher spoke about this a few days ago, and Eric Ten Hag took it the wrong way, basically. Which the gap, half a team seem to want to play. The forward line want to press, and the defenders, because they're not quick enough, they have to hold back. So the problem with Manchester United is that in the middle of the park, the midfield is too much of a gap between the midfield and the defence and the midfield and the strikers. So if you got a good midfield, you can absolutely slice Man United midfield like a hot knife through butter.
Well, luckily
Digitize
for
an
them,
onion.
this City does not have a good midfield, so that's fine. It'll work out.
Yeah,
for them.
yeah. All right. For one moment, I thought you serious, that guy.
Rodri's going to struggle in that kind of
Yeah,
environment.
he's gonna have a hard
Yeah.
time trying to figure out how to decipher whatever defense they put
It's
in
going to
front
get
of him.
really difficult for him when Casemiro gets yellow carded after 7 minutes. He's going to be under serious pressure in that situation.
Yeah, and you know what? It's home, so Rodri probably will put his hands on Casemiro's neck. Casemiro will slap it away and then get a red card. So that's probably what will happen. Because that's how that typically goes.
I know people go on about De Bruyne and Haaland for obvious reasons, but to me, and he should be Ballon d'Or winner next time around. City without Rodri, it is a beatable City, to be quite honest with you. He really makes them tick from
The 3 games
defense.
he got banned for, they did not win.
Yeah.
And you know what? And they're in top 3 without Haaland and without KDB for big chunks of it.
Yep.
So they don't miss them as much. They need them, but they don't miss them that much, right? As you said, Rodri is key to that whole thing. I think he makes everybody else around him on that back line and just in front, a lot better. Makes it easy. He makes it easy for the rest of the team, I think. So
I would like to posit 1 point. Sorry, Gary's made a great point there. Well, Gary and Brownie together, to be fair to them. I think this all points to one thing, though. It points to Man City with Calvin Phillips on the bench was a top team. Like, won the title, won loads of trophies. Since he's left and he's no longer on the bench for them, they're third. So basically, that tells me, phone West Ham up, go, that break clause that's in his loan contract, we need him back on our bench right fucking now.
That Calvin Phillips, I know you had the conversation before. That Calvin Phillips, I know Mark mentioned he goes up and down with his weight. Originally, that come from Pep. I'm just wondering, some people that can really get to you. Pep even apologized to Calvin Phillips about that comment about 3-4 weeks ago.
Yes, he did.
Sorry, Calvin, all the meat pies I've been feeding.
No, but I don't really think I personally I don't think he's overweight. I do think he's not a Premier League player. He played 1 season in the Premier League for Leeds United before signing for Man City. That 1 season was behind closed doors because of COVID. So it wasn't the pressure. The pressure wasn't like Bamford. Bamford had 20 odd goals on COVID. The pressure isn't on. I just think he was a 1 season wonder.
The thing is, the facts, the statistics don't back that up in the sense that Leeds won more games with him in the lineup than when he wasn't. So he was clearly an important player within that specific system. Obviously, outside of it, he's been shown up, but within it,
but
games with him. And we didn't.
Here was my big issue with Calvin Phillips going to City in the first place. It was the same thing with Grealish. They didn't need Grealish. They didn't need Calvin Phillips. They didn't need the Wolves player they got, Mateus. Who they get? Cunha? Nunes. They didn't need them. That's why they don't look fantastic on their team. Yeah. Had Grealish gone to had Calvin Phillips gone to a club that was like, we need you, had he gone to West Ham instead of you guys, had Declan Rice moved on and he went to West Ham, he would have been integrated, he would have had a season of football, and now he would be where West Ham is right now. West Ham would be soaring with Calvin Phillips right now. But you take a guy and you bring him over to a club where you're going to train, but I'm telling you right now, if Rodri is fit, you are not playing. If Kovacic is fit, You're not playing.
Do you think?
And so
oh,
he takes the pressure off of himself.
yeah, because I mean, City was in for Rice. How would have City looked if they actually got Rice? Do you think they actually would have played him?
He would only when Rodri wasn't fit, because they don't need another. He is Rodri. We are trying to turn Declan Rice into Rodri.
Yep.
And you're just not going to start on that team. You're not going to play on that team.
I think they
And they could try to force it in there. And we saw when they got Erling Haaland. Anyone who knows Manchester City football knows Erling Haaland does not fit that club. Erling Haaland does not fit that style of football. They had to completely change the way they played football to integrate Erling Haaland to have the season that he had.
But you know what?
And that's why City as a
that's
team
what you
stumbled.
do though. When Harlan isn't like you can just find him anywhere. There's like one of them in the world, right?
You're not going to change
and so
your
when
life
you bring him in,
Calvin
you're gonna have to cater to what makes them great because they are great. You know what I mean? It's like you pick any of the best players out there. Watermelon chili. Ooh.
What did I buy? Everything has like peppers in it.
What is?
Did you go to the pretentious douchebag kind of school for
Those
beer
are
or
the
something
only
today?
stores around
That
in
sounds.
Brooklyn these
You
days.
should. Where's your prawn sandwich? And
I
plastic.
I think
had
his
to
next
put on a
flavor
curly
is gonna
beard.
be is gonna be lychee asbestos.
Thank you, Brownie, for joining us, man. That was great. It was great to have you on.
Yeah.
Have a good night, Brownie.
But yeah, imagine Gary. Imagine.
Can we finish?
Not Declan, right? Yeah.
Can we finish
One
the
second.
betting in the dark segment? Okay, no, I'm just
No. We're using this to get us through the rest of the show because. But imagine, Gary, Calvin Phillips comes over to Arsenal a year before we get Declan Rice. We may not be in the market for Declan Rice because now he wouldn't have hit the ground running the way that Rice did, but we were in a season where we could have maybe integrated him, especially when Partey gets injured, things like that, where we were a little soft.
You know what? You can't. I don't think you can do that for your club. If you have the opportunity to bring in a player who's better than one you got, especially when it's somebody like that who might be key to wherever you want to go, then you bring them in, right? You've seen teams do. We've seen, at least over here in the States, we see teams bring in a quarterback and then go and get another one. Just because they know, look, I can get a better one. I might as well do that. So I think, if you bring in a Phillips and then there's a Rice available and you can afford to do it, you just do it because he's going to make you better. Because if you're going to bring in a starter, you do it every time. All right, you do it every time.
Yeah.
So.
All right. Well, Rob is clearly on Mr. Tom's side here. So let's finish off with betting in the dark. This has now been a 40-minute segment. Mr. Tom, you're winning life right now with a 40-minute segment.
I'm doing well. So following on from the Manchester derby, we are going to Monday Night Football, and I've gone for Arsenal with a very comfortable win over Sheffield United. But to bump that money up, I'm afraid I had to give a goal to Sheffield United. Basically.
I don't think that's a stretch right there. I mean, especially the way they gave up the clean sheet with Newcastle. I could see, and Sheffield can score.
That was to Joe Willock. He needed a goal, and we love him.
And we also have seen where when the lead is just become ridiculous, like when Arsenal scores like 4 or 5.
Yep.
They lose interest. They're like, we've got this. Oh, they scored a goal. We still get our points.
It's literally happened.
Well, for me, it's more the case.
Literally happened once.
It's more the case that Newcastle offered nothing in the realm of like attack, and that gets boring. That gets boring for the defense. And then when you sub, because we made all those subs as well, and all it took was those subs and then a little bit of a lapse, and bang.
Subs on my lead show clips.
So yeah, I kind of feel like if it was one of those games where they're threatening you a little bit, even though they're not getting anything out of it, and you win 4-0, and you're like, wow. It was actually they actually did not just roll over. Whereas Newcastle for like 80 minutes or so, it did like what 1/2 no shots, not no shots on target, no shots,
No shots.
for 45.
I mean,
minutes.
I don't even think they got in the final third.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, and if they did, it was really quick, and it was back the other way. You know what I mean? So I think that's why it gets boring when you destroy a team like that. If they keep you on your toes, then your defense will be on their toes for the entire game, and you might still get the clean sheet, but you won't have those lapses. So, yeah, if you go up like 6-0 in the first half, you're more likely going to give up a goal, right?
Yeah.
If it was a Seinfeld episode, would it have been the no goals Nazi or the no shots Nazi? Sorry.
Hey,
No shots for
Gary.
you.
No shots for you.
Gary,
Yes, sir.
where can people find more of your excellent commentary?
Oh yes, if you like me, and I know you do, and if you like that man at the bottom of the column there, Mr. Tom, you can check us out on many shows. We have tomorrow morning we'll be up talking football on the road trip. Check us out because that's 3 p.m. you guys in the UK, and then Monday night 12:30 a.m. for you guys in the UK. We got the trip, so we'll be talking mostly Arsenal there. But tomorrow will just be, what is it called? We just call it match day. So we talk about football and then everything else that goes along with it.
It
So
will
check
be
us
a
out.
minor Leeds fallout, Gary, because Leeds played the early game.
So there you go. So like depending on how that game goes, you might get. We don't know which Mr. Tom we're going to get. So there you go.
Well, let's see. And then what's Mr. Tom going to talk about?
Well, on Sunday at 9 p.m. in the UK, which means 4 p.m. on the Eastern Standard Time, we will be going over, that by we, I mean me and Ben, the Ben you all know and love, will be discussing our love of Leeds
Well, we know him.
and our dislike of every other club. So,
Nice.
Who do you guys play? What was that badge?
Huddersfield Town.
Huddersfield Town.
Yep, the dog botherers.
The dog botherers. Okay.
Yep.
Are we done with
Because
this bet?
someone from that area was accused of, well, I believe they were caught having it off with a dog. And basically, then we tarred everyone from that area with that brush, basically.
That doesn't. Oh, okay.
Yeah, there is a certain amount of hate for Cardiff, partly because we went through a stretch of time where we couldn't beat you, and our decline as a football club sort of began with you beating us in the third round of the FA Cup in January 2002 when we were top of the Premier League. So I've certainly held a minor grudge about it since then, but I'm petty, and basically you'll discover the more you see content with me in it, the petty reasons why I will hate all of your clubs.
You don't hate Arsenal.
Don't I, Gary?
No.
Well, you certainly can't hate Wolves because we spotted you 6 points last season.
It's true.
All right, we're done with this little segment. Or
this little 47-minute segment is now over.
The smallest segment in the history of Stoop. Record breaking. Calling Guinness.
All right, guys. 3 points separate the top 3 clubs in the Premier League. Let me ask you guys right now, is it a 3-horse race? Is it a 2-horse race? Or is it Man City's league? Guys, what are realistically right now? We are at 60, 59, and 58 points. Crazy. The third place team out of those has a better goal differential, a plus 38, better goal differential than goals scored for 10 of the 20 teams in the league. Meaning we have a plus 38 goal differential. Teams haven't even scored 38 goals. Arsenal also have the lowest amount of goals conceded. So your worst out of the top 3 actually has better numbers. So is this an actual race? Mark is laughing his ass off right now.
How many
and
teams have scored less than Haaland this season?
Oh damn!
I can
shit.
tell you that
Yeah.
right now. Because he scored, what, 17? They've all scored more than him. Sheffield
not that
United
good.
have
No.
19.
That guy
For now.
sucks.
Last year, he outscored Chelsea, I
Mhm.
believe.
No, Sheffield United have 22. Yeah. It's crazy. Crazy. Arsenal have the second most goals for in the league. We have 62 goals scored, and we have one 10-goal scorer.
And that
Come on,
and
Boston.
$3 will get you on the subway.
You know what? It's
I
just
mean,
reiterating. We do not need a 20-some-odd goal striker.
You know what? Everybody
You
keeps
would
saying
take
this.
a
There's no such
20-some-odd
thing as
goal
there's no
striker
such
in
thing
a
as a 20
heartbeat.
goal scorer. Think about how many players in the last 20 years have scored 20 goals.
Harry Kane
Some of
every season.
Yeah, and then Salah the other part,
Salah.
and then once in a while
Son,
somebody else.
We did the
Aubameyang.
maths on this on Gary's show. Did the
Yeah,
maths on this.
Yeah, it's not that.
Harry
It's
Kane.
like yeah.
Oh, sorry, I did it with Ronaldo, but it applied to Harry Kane. They score lots of goals, but to the detriment of their club, that then scores less goals in total than they would have before those players arrived.
Yep.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so I don't
That's
think
not in
we
my
don't.
opinion. That's
Arsenal
maths.
does not need a
Bring it
20
on,
goal
Mo.
scorer. They might need another striker, a taller striker, more agile or whatever, but they don't need 20. 20 isn't the magic number. It's not. There's no such thing as it. There's not one striker you can bring in probably from another league where you can say that's a 20 goal scorer, because guess what? It's really tough to do. Haaland did it, but he's playing with one of the best assist makers in the world, right? And we just saw how it works. They just had 4 assists, and they all probably look the same. Like you're like, how did they find him? Because that guy's really good, right? KDB is really good. So I think it's.
Can I shock you, Gary?
Yes, tell me.
Kevin De Bruyne is good at attacking football.
Yeah, I know. So that's what I'm saying. But you know what? Haaland can score goals, right? He was scoring goals before he got there. All they've done now is just continue what he was doing. He's just on a better team, all right?
To be fair, Dan, that's because they played Sheffield United and scored 8. They did score 8 against Sheffield United.
Yeah.
Newcastle, didn't they? Don't know if I dreamed that.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I think if Arsenal can get a win at City and Liverpool, and City can draw, that would be what we want.
Gary, what I want is a win at Sheffield United. I will deal with all the rest when it comes. But I just need a win every single week.
Why is Mo Master taking my words and just running with it? What's up with him, man? Why is he mad at me?
Mo Master's MO.
That's what Mo Masters do.
Now, what's crazy is, Gary, every time you mention Erling Haaland,
yes, sir.
Every time you mention Erling Haaland,
yes,
this guy's face pops up in my head. That's Harlan Williams. I don't know if you know him, an actor, very funny guy. But every time you say Harlan, I'm like, who's that Harlan guy? This is Harlan. And if he scored 5 against Luton, fucking pay him whatever he's asking for.
Sorry, I'm not good with names.
No, you're fantastic with names. I love them. You and Mark, like, yeah, you guys keep me happy with names.
Bremner, no.
Yeah,
no,
I think you know what I would be no. That can't.
There's no universe. There's no multiverse where the Blunts beat the Goobers.
I will say on that. I will say the only way I'll say Arsenal will be under pressure on Monday night is if the other 2 teams have won over the weekend. That's the only way Arsenal are in any kind of pressure in that contest.
That's what happened. That's what happened
Yeah.
last week.
Exactly, and
thing.
you'd have been you're under pressure in that one, and you
Yeah.
won. But still,
Yeah.
I'm not saying it like you'll lose, because I
Yeah.
was saying earlier, will Arsenal feel any pressure playing Sheffield United? But
You know, I
get
hope
to
they
point
do
out
because you know what
that's when they will.
this is the only way each game should be high pressure for them because that's what they need. They need to be on their toes. They can't let up. They're gonna have, basically they're gonna have to try to go 12-0. You know,
Right.
that's how this thing works. If you fail and you win 11 or 10, you might be okay. You know what I mean? You might be okay, but gotta strive for perfection right now. So
It's an absolute privilege to be in this
Yeah.
position in the
Yep.
Football League in
Yep.
February, March time.
yeah, and this keeps you
Absolute
engaged,
privilege.
right? Like we've gone through a basically 9 to 10 game stretch in the last 2 seasons, and you're like, well, if it happens this time, something's really wrong. You know what I mean? Last season,
Right.
9-game stretch pretty much destroyed the season. Previous season, there was like a 10-game stretch. Can't do it this time, and I think the nice thing is that we are getting healthy, so we do have options and we do have depth. Hopefully, going forward, as every day, it sounds like another player is getting closer and closer to putting on a
Right.
shirt.
Yeah. Looking at the fixtures coming up, we started off the show talking about pressure. Who's the pressure on? Who's the pressure on? I think if any team has the most pressure on them this week, it's going to be Man United. Villa and Arsenal they're playing some not so very good teams, and they will get the result. If United can't keep pace, it's over. It is over for them this week. If they do not get 3 points and keep pace, they're not getting into that. If top 4 was their goal, that's not happening.
This is what I worry about, Jimmy. We know the Blunts have to upset somebody this year.
Yeah, they did.
they?
Their own fans.
I'm going with Mark.
Walking away. That's our show.
I'm going out on a high note, Jerry.
That's it.
I'm going out on a high note.
Yeah,
Oh,
I'll go with
how
that
many
one. That sounds good to me.
Seinfeld references do we have every show? This needs to be a stat because, like, we do it uncontrollably. And is it because we live in New York, or because we're American? Because I don't know, like, or just because it's the best show ever.
It is a pretty special show.
Yeah,
I'll definitely say.
yeah. Well, guys, this has been a ton of fun. I know we didn't do score predictions of every single match that's going on this weekend, but or any really.
I think they'll live.
I think they'll live.
Exactly.
So, yeah. Anyway, so Gary, Tom, you guys got your shows coming up tomorrow and the next day, Monday or Sunday.
There'll be one of us will be
There's
on
one
for the
tomorrow.
next 3 days. So, or
There's
both
a
of
show
us
every
together.
day
So yeah,
in some form.
there you go.
Yeah, there you go, Jimmy. Thank you. Well, I will be up early watching Leeds United tomorrow, and I hope you guys get another win and continue this crazy form that you're on. Mark?
Yeah, I look forward to watching Leeds tomorrow.
Mark, what time do Wolves play?
Right after that
10 a.m.
That Leeds match. They're in the next grouping.
And hey, we softened up Newcastle for you, so we showed you how to beat him. Just don't let him have the ball.
I would love that to happen. That is not how we play. And
Debbie Lewis.
We don't have a striker right now, so it's gonna be a tough one.
If you have a good day at the office, maybe you'll win 4-2. Yeah.
Hey man, I'd take 1-0 because that's what we've
Exactly.
been producing lately.
Mark's
You know,
not
I'll take
greedy.
anything at this point. You know, I mean, to be honest, the season from here on out is just like gravy. You know,
I don't care about performances. I want results.
When my phone blew up after Lopetegui was fired, let go, whatever happened, everyone was just going, "Oh man, so sorry, man, you're gonna get relegated. I just feel it. I hate to say it." And you know, here we are, 9th, 8th, 10th. I don't know.
Ninth.
You know, we've, you know, these are results that were unexpected because we were sellers. We sold in the off season and then we loaned out in the January window, and we're still getting results against quality clubs. So at this point, everything is gravy as far as I'm concerned.
That is, Mark.
I have to chime in with this comment. All right. So for me, I'm only in the chat after or just before a big payday. So throw some love to us.
Yeah, throw some money down. What the hell?
Yeah, man. Otherwise, we're gonna have to try and sell Lolo to like West Ham for $3 million.
That's a lot kinder than I thought he was going to suggest.
Mark, I just
trying to sell your organs.
Yeah, I gotta inform you, Mark. I went to West Ham last summer.
I know.
Or
last October.
I offered myself to them. It was a hard pass.
Was it an offer like Hell's
I don't want to get into it, Mark, because
Hellspawn or
what's
the movie I'm thinking of? What's the horror film? The Puzzle?
Hellraiser.
Yeah.
You offer him like your Hellraiser, you're all like chained up and
I watched Dune Part 2 today.
Flayed. You saw it, and you saw Dune too?
Mark, these are post-match conversations. We will get to them soon.
All right, play us out, Mr. Lolo.
We will go to the Only Stoop fans page after this. As Jimmy says, good night, everybody. Much love to you all. I hope all your teams win. So yeah, we'll be backstage for a few minutes if anybody wants to join us backstage for a little chit chat. Otherwise, we will see you next week. Thank you all very much. Director John, thank you so much for being back. It was awesome. Awesome. Good night, everybody.